Hey guys, welcome to Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God. I am doing another part of the series for the Overwhelmed Mama, and you might hear things going on while I'm here. I have one little boy over there playing a game on the computer. He's 4 and he doesn't usually get to play computer games, but he's excited because I let him do that while his big brothers and sisters are outside shoveling from our snowfall we had yesterday. He wanted to go out, but I was afraid he would just be causing more ruckus than not. He isn't a huge fan of the snow, and I didn't want him just slipping around on the ice and getting hurt. So he's in here with me, and the baby is currently sleeping. Naomi, who's our oldest one at home, just finished dishes and she's headed off to do her schoolwork. So that's where we are right now. So anyway, next video in the Overwhelmed Mama series. This series is to help point out things that might be triggering you, if that's the word you want to use, that are causing you to feel stressed out and burdened by your children. Our children are supposed to be a blessing. The Bible talks about them as a blessing, and sometimes we see them as a burden because of other things that are going on in our lives, and we blame them on the burden we're feeling. So this one is talking about food, because if you are a mama of any kind, you have kids that need food. If you're a large family mama like me, that means giant amounts of food. And so sometimes that can be an overwhelming thing because for some reason our kids want to eat at least 3 times a day, and usually snacks in there too. And that's a lot of brain power for us. That's a lot of just things we have to think about. Like, we have to think about the daily, what am I making today? But then there's also the planning and having that food available in the house to cook. Just all those different things that go into it. There's a lot of brain space that's taken up by that. And also just, it can be overwhelming financially for our families because food prices are going up. I was actually looking at the USDA thrifty plan earlier today. Something came up on one of the groups I'm on about how to feed our families for less money. And so I looked, and November 2023, the thrifty plan for a family of 4 was $968. Don't quote me on that. It was right around there. High 960s something. That has gone up $300, over $300 since 2020. So prices, you are? Can you find another game? Yeah. So prices have gone up during that time, and it's made for an overwhelm for families because we only have so much money to go around.
What did you click on?
He would like some help with the game. So, oh, and I'm gonna kick the camera. I will be right back. Okay, so we got him set up. So food prices have just gone up and up, and it makes it really hard when it's already a challenge to get food on the table just because there's a lot of food that needs to go out on the table every day. And then for the prices to go up, it just can get stressful and overwhelming. So here are some tips I have. You're gonna play your game. You can show me after, okay? He's on a game playing a make a face where you change the eyes and things. He wants me to look at every step. So I have a notebook right here. That's what I'm looking down at. And so one of the things is your meals don't have to be fancy. And this is something I've been talking about with my family recently. In the Bible, we see a lot of times where they're fasting and feasting. And I don't mean fast like don't feed your children. That would be a lot easier to just not feed your children for days on end. But it wouldn't be healthy for anybody and isn't good for anybody. Fasting can be good and beneficial for certain things, but not just so that you don't have to think about eating. So meals can be very plain, and that can be good because it helps us to appreciate those times where we have a feast meal more often. So we have times like last night, we had a snow day yesterday. Here in Maine, we had snow, and our area got about 10 to 12 inches of snow. So we watched the snow out the window. We weren't able to get outside because it kept falling, and we have some health issues in our family that make it hard to get out there in the snow. So it was just kind of a different day for us. My mom came up for the day and we played games and did stuff, and I decided to make a treat meal for the kids where we made pizzas, homemade pizzas with stuff that we had around the house. But that's like a big feast meal for us. A more normal meal would be muffins for breakfast or soup and bread. Like today's lunch was salad and bread because that's what we had. We made some homemade bread, and I had some lettuce that needed to be used up, so we made some salads for lunch. But you don't always have to make every meal a big fancy ordeal. Having enough food on the table is important, but you need things that'll fill bellies. And sometimes those things that fill bellies are easy, not fancy. So it's nice to once in a while have, the Thanksgiving meal where you have all the different sides and all of that stuff. But that's not required at every meal. So don't stress out about trying to have all of that. You can eat the same thing every day. I think we forget that it's okay to eat soup tonight and then eat the leftovers tomorrow, or the same kind of soup, even if you don't have leftovers, making the same thing again. It's easier to make food when you're using a limited amount of ingredients because you can buy those ingredients in bulk, or just when you're shopping, it's easy to put, let's say, 5 chickens in the cart so that you can make soup for over the course of the week, than to, okay, so we'll do this chicken dish and we'll do this beef dish and we'll do this. We have a lot of nutrition we get through the food we eat. So I'm not saying to not have a variety of foods, but what I'm saying is in our culture, we are very blessed to have an abundance of food and be able to have lots of different choices. But sometimes that amount of choices makes us stressed out because we feel like we can't continue to eat the same thing day after day because we want something different. Again, I'm talking about nutritious foods that will fill bellies. I'm not saying, there are times where you need to do the easiest thing. But what I'm saying here is not, just a box of pasta with butter on it every day for lunch. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like a good nutritious soup, but eating it for a couple days in a row. Things that have lots of vitamins and minerals. Okay, then you find a different game. That is a silly face you got there. Or you can start all over again. If you go down to the bottom, in the middle, do you see the circle or whatever it is? I'm trying to help him. Can you click on that? Yep, you can go back to that and go down and find the game again. Okay. So, eating the same thing. So when I was a kid, we used to take lunches to school, and there were kids who every day in their lunchbox had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and carrot sticks and pretzels and an apple. And that was their lunch every day. And as parents, we don't want our kids to whine about the food that they're given. But we'll be like, but we had tacos last night, or we just had pizza a couple days ago, where really you can repeat those meals and make it easier on yourself to not have to have the brain power of every single night of the week has to be a different meal. Don't let the meals be stressful. So making a meal and then serving it on a paper plate is totally okay if that's the season in life you're in. We have seasons of life when we're in the camper. We use paper plates all the time because that's what we have. Some of the places that we stay, we have water but limited output of water, if that makes sense. So we will use paper plates to eat, and then I only have to wash the pots and pans. So eating on a paper plate. A lot of meals that we have what we call snacky lunch once in a while. And so it'll be a piece of string cheese and some crackers and some carrot sticks. By the way, string cheese is pretty cheap if you get it like at Sam's Club. Not as cheap if you get it at Walmart and stuff. So some cut up veggies, some cut up fruit, that type of thing. We serve that on a paper towel at the table or in a coffee filter. One of our snacks regularly in the afternoon is a big bowl of popcorn that we serve in coffee filters. So the dishes is the one big bowl the popcorn's in. We do it in an air popper, so it pops right into the bowl. And that's just how we make that easy. It doesn't have to be served on fine china with all the silverware. My kids, we have people that will comment on my kids' behavior on, how good they are when we go out to a restaurant or something, which we very rarely do. Grandma takes us out. But my kids would not know which fork to pick up because at home, I only put out the silverware that is needed for that meal. So if they need a fork, they get handed a fork. If they need a spoon, they get handed a spoon. If they go to a table that has a whole bunch of stuff, they're gonna be like, what am I supposed to do with this? It doesn't have to be fancy. Also, safe, okay foods. Every family is different on what is okay for their family to eat. That might just be health concerns that you have or preferences, but it also might be allergies. So I don't want to tell anybody to eat something that is unsafe for them. But for us, we try really, really hard to avoid food dyes because Josiah, with his seizures, it's been shown people with seizures have more trouble with food dye. He seems to have some issues with food dyes. So we try really, really hard to not do food dyes in our family, but keeping some things in the house that are quick and easy meals that we can do that go by our standards of eating. So one of the things that I have that's quick and easy, not a favorite of everybody's, but you know what? Sometimes people don't get their favorites. Today, one of the kids told me, salad's not my favorite. That's what we're having at lunch. And I was like, last night you picked pizza and that's your favorite. And today mommy wants salad. That's one of my favorites. We all have different things. It is okay that you don't always serve your kids' favorites. But one of the meals that's quick and easy for us that I usually have the ingredients for in the house.
I don't know how to do this.
Okay, then you can go back to the other screen. Yep, click up there. Normally there's a bigger sibling in here that's helping with the computer game because they want to sit and watch what he's doing anyway. So he doesn't usually have to navigate it by himself. He's doing a good job. So anyway, so one of the things I do, is I have canned chicken downstairs. I buy the canned chicken from Sam's Club. We use it very, very rarely. But if you take that canned chicken and you heat it on the stove with a block of cream cheese, I usually do a couple cans. So a couple cans of chicken, some cream cheese, some salsa, and then I roll it in a tortilla with some cheese and bake them in the oven. It makes a hearty meal for everybody. I'll serve cut up fruit on the side or something. It's an easy meal that I have the ingredients for in the house, and I don't have to strain my brain on those days of like, oh no, what am I gonna do? There are days, we had a time a couple weeks ago that Grandma bought us pizza because we had a power outage that lasted through supper time. They thought the power would be on by supper and it didn't come on. So I'm not saying to never get takeout food or whatever, but have things in the house that are safe and easy that you know, here's a fallback meal. Also, like I was mentioning the pasta before. Sorry, I was just trying to keep an eye on the people out front because I thought someone was slipping, but we're okay. The pasta meal I mentioned before. My kids love pasta. We eat it probably less than once a week, but I know that I can always throw pasta in a pot and either just put butter on top, and the kids like to put nutritional yeast on top of that, or I'll put a little cream cheese and cheese in the pot and make just a quick mac and cheese. We do the whole like make a roux, make the cheese sauce and everything, but just a quick, I need something for them to eat. I know that's something that they're gonna enjoy, and it's nice and easy for when that last minute, oh no, the meat didn't thaw, whatever comes up. So have easy things in the back of your mind. Also, food related. Use your meals to bond as a family. Be very intentional about your meals. For a homeschool family, we tend to have more meals together than families who might have their children in school or whatever. So for me, I've eaten 3 meals a day with my kids since Virginia was born. So, well, since Virginia was born, because Nathaniel did school that one year. The first year that we had him. So Nathaniel's our oldest. He did kindergarten and first grade in public school. But then since then, we've been homeschooling. So every meal since then, we've eaten together as a family. I mean, there's those occasional times where I have a doctor's appointment during the meal or whatever, but it is very rare that we do not eat breakfast, lunch, and supper together every day of the week. And now that Mark's home, he eats every meal with us too. I know not everyone has that luxury, but even when he was working, we usually had 2 meals a day with him. Sometimes only 1. It depended on his schedule, because at one point he did work 12-hour shifts, so that made it hard. But usually we'd have breakfast and lunch with him. We'd get up before he went to work, eat breakfast, he'd go off to work, and then we'd have supper when he got home. Or he had schedules where he went to work at 2 in the afternoon, so we'd have breakfast and lunch together. But make those meals intentional. Make the time sitting down a time to actually bond with your kids, to grow with them, to learn with them. We've done different things over the years. We've practiced catechism questions at meals. Right now our schedule is we play a geography game during breakfast because we have a big map on the wall by the dining room table. So we play a geography game then. During lunch we do math problems that are geared towards all the different ages. And then at supper, we're learning about music. So we'll listen to a song on YouTube and learn about the composer or learn about where the song came from, the hymn came from, whatever. So that's what we're currently doing.
Do I click?
I don't know. You're going to have to find a different game. Sorry. So we've done different things over the years and, what's worked for our family at that time. Practiced Bible verses, talked about the events of the day, talked about a news article that we've seen. Maybe it's reading a chapter of a book, because depending on your kids, depending on the season in life, we've had times where we've had slower eaters than not. Right now we're going through a time where everybody in the family eats pretty fast, so I don't have to fill time. But we have had times where they are kind of slow at the table, and so I'll bring a chapter book to the table and I'll read once I finish my meal, or I'll wait and eat my meal after I've read some of the book to them, so we have something to discuss. But make those times just a time where you're coming to the table with intentionality, but also a time that you're thinking, I want to build this relationship with my kids, because it's a time that's already built into your day that you have to sit down with them. There's also, we have seen different families. One family that we used to spend a lot of time with, they live in another part of the country. That's why we don't spend more time with them now. But they had a Bible game that you would read a Bible verse and people would try to guess where the Bible verse was. And you kind of played like warmer, colder to figure out if you were close to that Bible verse. Also, we have seen different times where there's like conversation starter type questions. Like, if you could go to one place in the world, where would you choose to go? Or what is your favorite season? Or if you could rewrite the end of one book, what would you write? Like, how would you do that? And so things that bring, relationship. That's what I'm trying to say, is just make those times a time of relationship. So I hope this helps you to see your kids as less of a burden. Hold on, I'll help you in just a second. To see your kids as less of a burden and more of a blessing. I need to go help my little blessing figure out this computer game. But we will see you guys next time on Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God.